Open wide, kids, because Alan Jackson is coming in hot and fully throated.
We got another Sallyport video just a few days ago. This one showing the Lexus backing into the Sallyport from some exterior camera.
What do you mean? There's another video. Hello, and welcome back, roommates, to Alexa's Room, where we are not lawyers, we are not medical professionals, and we are not law enforcement. We are just people who have a lot of opinions about all things going on in the true crime community, and let's just get right to it. I mean, this was an absolute clown show today. My good golly gosh. So there were tons of things that were discussed, argued about, even decided upon by Beverly Cannoli Oil. She was cranking in the overtime. And one of those things was the expert-related expenses, that motion that Team Karen Read had filed, I think like a week or two ago, seeking compensation from the Commonwealth, saying, yo, pay me this $12K for wasting our time on sending one of our experts all the way from Phoenix, Arizona to review this footage that ultimately does not exist. Now, this motion was ultimately denied earlier today by Beverly Canola Oil. No shock, no surprise there, but nevertheless, there were still some really jaw-dropping moments, including this moment during AJJ's argument where he is talking about new Sallyport video footage that has revealed itself magically. Let's take a look.
And literally, while we're asking that question and while we're pondering that question, a couple of days ago, we're getting yet more videos. Scraps. Piecemeal. We got another Sallyport video just a few days ago. This one showing the Lexus backing into the Sallyport from some exterior camera.
I almost fell out of bed when I heard that. What do you mean? There's another video from a completely different angle that's only now being shared.
That also is exculpatory evidence. Mr. Brennan writes in his opposition that the idea that the defense has been misled or was misled in its efforts to try to go secure that DVR footage is a distortion of the facts with, quote, no legal merit. Really? A distortion of the facts with no legal merit? Where's all this footage coming from, if not the DVR? It's the only place it was held. It's the only place it was.
It's the ghost of Kenny Berkowitz here to sprinkle drips and drabs of Sallyport videos from ghosts of Canton police officers past. This is absolutely crazy. And I'm not saying that I necessarily blame Hank Brennan for only finding this out himself. But like, dude, when you adopt the clown show that is this case, and you're not like, hey, alarm bells are going off in my brain, maybe I should remove myself from this. Screw the contract. You're a lawyer. You can talk your way out of a contract for sure. It's only $75K. Actually, what we've come to find out, we'll get into that in a little bit, but the truth is that somebody deliberately, or multiple somebodies, deliberately withheld evidence. Why? Likely because it would show that the taillight was fully intact at the time it was being brought into the Sallyport, because we've never seen it from that angle. And like AJJ said, there's a convenient 42 minutes of footage that's missing. The apparitions, the ghosts, the people. Who knows what people? It's all blurry, it's all inverted. We have no idea. Snow being there, the not being there. Now it all makes sense. If you're a tow truck driver, why wouldn't you back it in to where it's supposed to be dropped off? Why would you just say, okay, cool, I'm going to drop it in the middle of the parking lot so you can move it? No, you're going to turn that thing around. You're going to back it in. You're going to drop it off, call it a day, and go home. It makes so much more sense now. So again, one has to think, why would that footage be missing?
Captured. So of course we were misled by continually getting these piecemeal snippets of footage from the DVR, from the very source. Had to have come from there, coupled with the Commonwealth saying, and Mr. Brennan saying, yeah, come on out. You can have your expert come out, meet us at Canton. We'll provide the DVR and have him look at it. He can bring his equipment, download whatever you want from that 24-hour period. So what were we to believe? That it was on the DVR. It had to be. How else were we getting these piecemeal videos?
So somebody, because you don't have any kind of protocol or procedure for archiving things, as we've come to find out, somebody, maybe it was that retired sergeant that Hank Breenan spoke to that we went over in that previous motion from the other day. He copied this video onto something, and that's how these clips, like, because then somebody has to also be, like, this is where my brain goes. There has to be a full 24-hour copy, unedited version of this Sallyport video footage. The only way that they're getting piecemeal clips here and there, drips and drabs, and little spurts, is if somebody is deliberately chopping up the footage and sending it over. Piecemealing, as he stated, what they want you to see. Mr. Lally. Oh, Helena. It's the defense calling. We want you on the stand. You got some splaining to do.
And they've had that DVR for 3 years. They knew exactly what was and what was not on that DVR. They had to have. This has been the center of a storm that surrounded this case from the jump. And to claim otherwise, it's just patently absurd. So Mr. Brennan also wrote in his opposition that Mr. Jackson said, don't touch the DVR, don't mess with it. So I informed Chief Rafferty, tell your staff, don't touch it, don't mess with it, almost suggesting, intimating that it's my fault that we didn't know what was on the DVR. That's absurd also. How am I supposed to know what is or isn't on the Commonwealth's DVR? What I actually said, that was a sort of a liberal interpretation of the facts. What I actually said was, Mr. Brennan, do me a favor, if we're going to come out there, just don't have anybody download it in advance. Let's do it all together when we're all in the same place. That's what I said, and he accommodated that. He said, sure, we'll agree to that. So based on this history of getting these small clips from January 29th, we knew there had to be more footage. So when Mr. Brennan came on board, we made the request to him as well as the requests that we had made to his predecessors. We want all the footage for that 24-hour.
His predecessors. If only the cameraman could have just panned over to Lally, zoomed in on his face, because that's exactly who he's talking about. He's talking about Lally. He's talking about Meatball. He's talking about Lally. Even McLaughlin, she was all part of it. She was part of that show and pony dance the first time around, too. So don't pretend like you're being all cute on your little laptop over there and like you're in La La Land. You don't know what's going on. You know exactly what's going on, girlfriend. So you're in it just as much as he is. Like, I want them all on the stand. They all have some explaining to do, and I don't blame Alan Jackson for being like, look, don't let anybody else touch it. And I'm not saying that Hank Breenan would be the kind of person to purposely tamper with evidence. I'm not at all saying that, right? And again, I want to be clear, these are all my opinions, but he's definitely aware and very careful of the words he uses and how he communicates with the defense as well, too. I mean, all of this back and forth that, you know, you're going to hear, we're not going to go through this entire clip. We're just going to go over a small piece because there's just so much to it. But later on, Breenan goes like, well, you know, look, I never said that I knew if the footage existed or not. And that could be true. That very well could be true. But again, just because you weren't part of the A-team before doesn't mean that that's not your pile of dog poo that you have now adopted. Because it is, and you have to take responsibility for it. Like, no, Lally didn't turn this over. Why didn't Lally turn it over? I would be absolutely fuming. And this is why I don't think it's going to happen on April 1. There's just so much that came out of today's hearing. There's new notice of discoveries. The Commonwealth finally submitted their certificate of compliance 1 day after the deadline. There's new experts that they're going to be calling. The defense has no idea what they're going to be testifying to. There's a whole slew of new stuff that's going to be coming in, potentially. So I just feel like if it is going to happen, it's not going to happen in April. Or it's not going to at least happen on April Fool's Day. Joke's on all of us. So we will see, but...
Lo and behold, we started getting more clips. more snippets, more piecemeal bits and bytes from that DVR, and one of them was a clip of Brian
Bits and bytes, you know that was deliberate. He probably felt really proud for writing that in.
Higgins standing out in front of Canton Police Department in the parking lot in the freezing cold at 1:35 in the morning on January 29th on his cell phone. To punctuate the importance of that video footage, recall that this issue
Going, yo, it's Kevin from South Boston.
Was raised at trial. We talked extensively. When I say we, both the Commonwealth and the defense, me in particular, spoke with Mr. Higgins about this issue. It was raised at trial, and Brian Higgins never once, not once, on direct examination or on cross-examination, admitted to having made a phone call in the middle of the night on January 29th. And yet now, after the trial, we get a video of him doing exactly that. And that also proves that he lied in front of a federal jury, in front of a federal grand jury, when he testified that he didn't have or make any phone calls in the middle of the night. That is called exculpatory evidence, and that's Brady evidence.
And also perjury. And also perjury. And would also explain why he had his lawyer holding his hand with him when he was testifying during the first trial. This is not normal behavior. This is not what honest people, honest, hardworking people, stand-up citizens, especially stand-up citizens who are law enforcement, behave. This is not how that works. I want to hear from the tow truck driver more than anybody. I mean, because it's like, when you pull, like, how did you pull into the Sallyport? Did you pull in nose first, or did you back it in? I'm assuming you backed it in, right? Then what happened? We went over the policies of procedures when you're taking in a vehicle into custody for a criminal investigation. Did you go through the inventory? Is there any documentation that was taken? Who's playing bumper cars with Karen Read's vehicle? Because there certainly would be more footage, not just of it being backed in to the Sallyport. Who pulled her car out and turned it around? Pirouetted. Maybe that's what Trooper Paul meant when he meant pirouette. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next update from me. And make sure you hit that like button, because that tells the YouTube algorithm that Norfolk County is full of a bunch of liars. Liars who are gaslighting the public, their taxpayers, into believing that a woman who is factually innocent, when in fact all evidence points otherwise. If you want to go make a donation, wow, 643,000, so almost 644,000. That's awesome. Of the $2 million goal, that's only a dent in how much this woman has paid trying to defend herself, right? From being falsely persecuted and prosecuted. But yeah, usually what we do is at the end of every month, I total the amount of revenue that has come in thanks to you lovely viewers and members who have donated your viewing time and dollars to supporting this channel, and I take 20%, donate it to a cause of the channel's choice. So what we believe in right now, it's Karen Read primarily, because this is the case that keeps on giving, and if we can give back, even if it's just a little bit, we try and do so. So we will be making a donation in the next couple of weeks as soon as the next YouTube AdSense payment comes through. I post it on my channel post page community tab so you can see, and yeah, thanks to you, we get to support people that we believe in. So if you're down with that, then I hope you stick around. I hope you like what you see, and see you in the next one.